Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another episode on Raj's Garage. Today we'll be focusing on my Porsche 996 Turbo S. We are 6 months in and this is going to be a review of what it's been like living with this car. So I can't believe it, 6 months in already with my daily driver, Porsche 996 Turbo S. And I've got to say, those 6 months have gone by very quickly. Although I say it's my daily driver, when the weather is nice, such as today, I do tend to drive one of my other cars. When the weather's not so good, or it's raining, this is the car that I drive. So today we're gonna cover a few bits. I am here at my second home, Northway Porsche. Paul will service the car, plus there's a few other bits and pieces that he did mention in the first review that we did of the Turbo before I purchased the car, and we'll cover some of the bits that he picked up on and should they be addressed now. We're also going to look at changing the suspension and the wheels. Now, some of you have sent me DMs and also mentioned in the comments in one of my previous episodes that this car is too good to daily. It should be a weekend toy, that car that you jump in to go for a B-road blast. Well, I will give you an honest review at the end of this episode, what it's been like to live with this car for 6 months and what my future plans are. So now let's find Paul and we'll talk about the servicing and some of the other bits. Paul is one of the head technicians here at Northway, and he's my go-to guy when I have a Porsche problem. And I'm not saying I've got a problem with this car, but it's now 6 months in. It's time for that service. It's actually more or less a year to the date since the last service. Some people would argue actually doesn't need a service. A few weeks ago, I did have to top up the oil a little bit, so it shows that I have been using the car.
Yeah.
We're about 3,000 miles since I purchased the car. No issues.
Good.
Starts on the button. She pulls like a train, and it's mind-boggling how quick these cars are, because you forget that it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
But this thing is fast.
But it's your bang for your buck. The amount of
Yeah.
money you pay for the speed you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you recall, and I know you work on a lot of cars, so I'll remind you.
Yeah.
When you did the appraisal on this car, you mentioned that the engine mounts were starting to delaminate. I don't know how much 3,000 miles on, plus using it as a daily in all sorts of weather, what's that done to those components? So you'd obviously have a look at those.
We'll have a look over the whole car anyway.
And I've got some new suspension.
Right.
I've got KW Variant 3 suspension for this, which I purchased a few months ago.
Yeah.
Now, we're happy to fit it ourselves, and we've done quite a few Porsches and stuff at work where we fit KW, but if you're going to be messing around with the suspension area and changing top mounts, is it not wise for me to just drop the suspension to you?
Drop it over. Yeah, we'll do that.
And you
No
could
problem.
probably do it in half the time that we're going to do it in. So maybe change the suspension. The window regulator, if you recall,
Yeah.
the driver side window regulator is a little bit sticky. And there was some binding on the calipers, weren't there?
There was. I think it was your left front caliper from memory that was starting to bind. So because you've got the ceramics on there, just need to check that out.
Yeah, the
Make
last
sure.
thing I want to do is damage these ceramics. I think there's still a little bit of life in the pads, but
But like we said beforehand, if you let the pads get too low with the ceramics, then they start to damage them. So
Okay.
anything you get down over 2/3 of the pad left, then change it.
can you remind me how much of the ceramics to replace on something like this?
Too much, a lot.
We're talking thousands.
You're talking thousands per disc. Let's have a
Okay.
view on it. We'll give you a call.
Right, so here are the keys for the 996 Turbo, and I'll see you in a few days.
Yeah, great stuff.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
In my previous episode of the 996 Turbo, I did mention that I was after some standard turbo twists. So when I purchased the Turbo S, it came with the Sport Techno wheels, which are pretty cool because they're sort of exclusive to the Turbo S, but I actually don't like them. And I've been looking for a set of standard turbo twists. However, I've got a set of wheels, but there's a twist to the Turbo. So let me show you what I've managed to get hold of. we have a set of virtually brand new BBS LMs, which I've purchased off a friend. So we have got 11-inch wide on the back by 19. So these are 19-inch LMs and 8.5s on the front. They're ET50. Check these out. These are the fronts, wrapped in pretty new rubber. So these are the new wheels that are going to go on my Turbo S. Right, I'm back here again at Northway Porsche. Seems like at this particular moment in time, I'm spending a lot of time and money here at Northway Porsche. So we're going to grab the 996 Turbo S, obviously find Paul, have a quick walk around the car, and at some point we'll get it in our workshop. We'll show you what work's been done underneath the car. We'll put the new wheels on, get the wheel alignment sorted, and then we'll go for a drive and give an update of what it's been like living with a Turbo S for 6 months. Right, let's get on over to my car. Paul.
Hey.
Hello, mate.
How we doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm just forever spending time and money here. He's got no
place to
comment.
be, is it?
It's not a bad place to be, and you know, I guess when you've got a few Porsches in the collection, they all need maintenance and bits and pieces.
Yeah.
This one obviously was a lot easier compared to the 964 Turbo, which sat here for 2 months. So we fitted the KW variant 3. I think we're about an inch lower.
We're an inch lower as it sits at the moment. Obviously, once you get your wheels on there, then you're gonna have to do some fettling.
Yes.
So yeah, roughly all round, we're about an inch lower.
Okay, and what else have you done?
Rear brake pads.
Okay.
Just because of the fact that they weren't quite there, but they were getting low. And as we talked about with ceramic pads, you don't want to run them too low because obviously you run the risk of damaging the actual disc itself, which is mega money, so you don't want to even go near that.
The front pads are fine.
Front pads are fine.
Top mounts have been replaced.
Top mounts have been replaced. Didn't need to use the bearings on the top mounts because the KWs come with bearings in the actual spring cup itself, so you saved yourself a bit of money on that side of things. Yeah, it's all pretty straightforward.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is going to be a smaller bill compared to the 964 Turbo.
Yeah, definitely.
All I need to do now is settle the bill, get out of here, and I'll see you guys shortly over at the CAS workshop. For now, Paul, thank you very much.
Thanks,
let's get into the office, make a payment, and get out of here.
Brilliant.
All right,
yeah.
let's go.
Let's go.
So guys, I've got Palmer here to help me out. What are you saying?
What's with the blue? What's with the gloves, Michael?
Well, I've got to keep my fingers nice and clean. I've got work to do.
Because you had a pedicle down there.
Keyboard and that. So we've got the front wheel off, and before we test fit, because we don't know if these will fit, Palm, because of the ceramics.
Yeah, so the previous owner didn't have ceramics. You have got ceramics, and normally ceramic brake calipers are normally bigger. So I think we should be all right, but we'll find out in a second.
Fingers crossed. But before we put the wheels on, let me show you the KW Variant 3 suspension, which obviously Northway fitted.
On the KW Variant 3s, you have dampening adjustment and you have
Rebound adjustment
as well, which is done from the dial at the bottom, and the dampening adjustment is done from the top. Okay. And also on the V3s, you have an extra oil canister, so that carries extra oil, which, in simple terms, keeps the oil in the shock cool under shear stress, so that it's constantly performing at its optimum.
Nice.
In the simplest terms.
Okay.
As you can see, Paul has been very conservative with his drop height.
Yes.
But now you've got me involved.
For those that don't know Palm and maybe haven't seen him on the CAS TV, that's the work channel, Palm loves slamming cars. And I like to be a little bit sort of middle of the road. So Paul has gone middle of the road, but I'm sure that Palm...
No. Paul's gone top of the road because they're hardly wound out.
No, they are. It's sitting a little bit lower than the original
that's
suspension.
right. So,
do you remember, guys, the original suspension was 20 years old and a little bit tired. I could have just replaced it like for like, but that's not what I do. I like modifying my cars, hence why I've gone for KW, the Variant 3, which gives me a lot of adjustability, which is fairly straightforward to do from here. So, shall we test fit that wheel, Palm?
yes.
Right guys, suspension now fitted and tinkered with a little bit. I'll go into that shortly. And the new BBS LMs have also been fitted onto the car. So wheel sizes on the front 8.5 by 19 and on the rear 11 by 19. So quite a bit wider on the back. Since we've had the car back, we've lowered the car a little bit, but not too much because I don't want it aggressive and I don't want the car rubbing everywhere because this is my daily. And we've added some spacers on the front only. So 7mm spacers on the front. On the rear, there were 15mm spacers already on the car and we've kept them on there. So in terms of looks, I think I've done really well in getting the wheel and tire setup with the suspension setup to look spot on. It looks a lot more butch, a lot more aggressive, but without looking silly and slammed. And that's not what I wanted with this car. Now guys, living with this car has been amazing. It's a joy to drive. The power delivery is amazing, brutal in fact. Second and third gear are just incredible. The way it delivers the power, there's virtually no turbo lag and it just keeps going and going and going. Living with the car on a day-to-day basis, because this has been my daily, has been fantastic. 6 months in, over 3,000 miles. Used it through winter, so sleet, a bit of snow, ice, rain. We are in the UK and we've had 6 months of constant rain, and car's been perfect. Starts on the button, everything works, the AC works, the wipers, the heated rear windscreen, you know, all the stuff that you need as a daily car, but in a sort of classic car does work. So in that aspect, absolutely brilliant. So great choice as a daily and something I would definitely recommend. The interior cabin has that Porsche DNA, so you've got the 5 dials on the instrument cluster with the massive rev counter in the middle. The cabin's quite small and compact. There's enough space in the front for you to store bags and whatever else you need. I've upgraded the tech, which is extremely important because the original Porsche sat nav didn't work. There was no Bluetooth. I've upgraded it to a Kenwood DMX 8021 DABs, which is a CarPlay unit. It gives wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, also has DAB, Bluetooth streaming and so on, touchscreen. The installation video for the stereo is on our main Cast TV channel, and there'll be a link below for that if you need to see that. Now, one thing with this car being a Turbo S, so that's another 30 brake horsepower up on the stock turbo, is the power delivery. Aggressive and brutal. Second and third gear are just mind-blowing. The way it throws the power down puts a smile on your face from ear to ear. Suspension, now that obviously we've upgraded it to KW, much more compliant. It's not too harsh. You can adjust the rebound and so on the KW, so I didn't want it too hard and I didn't want to be bouncing around everywhere. I do live in the UK, the roads aren't great, there's a lot of potholes at the moment, and I want to be able to go over speed bumps without having to slow down to 5 miles an hour. So yeah, you can obviously tweak the KW suspension to your own requirements. But yeah, suspension wise, absolutely brilliant. Even the stock suspension was great, but I could feel after 20 years and 40 odd thousand miles, it was getting a little bit tired. So it needed a refresh. So there are lots of positives with this car, and the positives do outweigh the negatives. The only couple of negatives I could probably think are the interior cabin is a little bit plasticky. This sort of center section, you can get a carbon fiber upgrade, and it's showing its age. You know, inside the cabin, it's sort of stuck between that 993 and the 997, which is a massive improvement in terms of interior and probably driving as well. So yeah, it's just maybe inside the cabin could be a bit better. Having the new tech definitely does help. And obviously looks, you know, looks are very subjective. We've got the 996 flat light design. Okay, it's not the fried egg design with the yellow yoke, which is on the Gen 1, this being the Gen 2, the facelift version. The lights are a little bit flatter and softer, and I've warmed to the 996 design, as I think many others have as well. So yeah, just a couple of negatives. In terms of running costs, I've been very lucky. I carried out a PPI before I bought the car, and the car's got exceptional service history, which obviously does help. But if you're buying, say, a 996 turbo, make sure you do a PPI, and make sure you also do a HPI check. In the case of this car, before I bought the car, I did a car vertical HPI check, and that check will verify the mileage on the vehicle, make sure there's no mileage discrepancies, make sure the car's not been stolen, recovered, make sure there's no finance outstanding, and also ensure that the car's not been involved in an accident. The car vertical check on this car came back clean, and that's one of the reasons why I bought it. But if you check on the screen now, there's a picture of a Porsche which obviously has seen better days, and the last thing you want to be doing is buying a car which has been accident damaged in the way that has been, and then potentially repaired. Before you purchase a used vehicle, carry out a car vertical history check and use the code CAS at the checkout for 20% off. In terms of fuel, I'm averaging about 25 miles to the gallon, so it's not so bad considering this is really supercar standards, you know, 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds, and top speed somewhere around 190 miles an hour. So it's great value for money in that sense, although the Turbo S's do cost a little bit more compared to the stock turbos, and there are only 60 right-hand drive Turbo S's that came to the UK market, and some of them were cabs and some of them were Tiptronics as well. So a manual Turbo S coupe black on black is very rare. So there we have it, guys, a quick review 6 months in living with my 996 Turbo S, and that part of it I do enjoy. And also, guys, if you're after KW suspension, we do sell it. It's available on our sister company, thetuningstore.co.uk. There's a link in the description below. There's details on the screen now. So if you need suspension for your classic Porsche, just drop us an email or drop us a DM and we'll quote you up. We can fit it as well if need be. The next upgrade for this car will be the audio. It's got Bose system from factory, which is pretty good, but I think it's a little bit tired. I'm going to be ripping the complete Bose system out and upgrading it with better products. So guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the new look on my daily 996 Turbo S, KW suspension variant 3, and the 19-inch BBS LMs. Yes or no, I quite like it. Obviously, I would do because I put it on the car. I quite like the new look. Let me know what you think. Make sure you smash the like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below, and I will see you on another episode on Raj's Garage. Thanks for watching, guys.